Have you ever wondered why some people, even when you show them a great deal of care and respect, never seem to reciprocate at the same level? They might make you feel invisible or even hurt, leading you to doubt your self-worth. Such moments often spiral us into a whirlpool of negative emotions, questioning whether we did something wrong or if we simply aren't good enough. However, Stoic philosophy offers a completely different perspective. Stoicism is not just a philosophy of reason and resilience. It is also a guiding light that helps us better understand our value, preventing the thoughtless actions of others from shaking our confidence in ourselves. In this video, we will explore 4 common behaviors exhibited by people who don't truly appreciate you. These signs are not just warnings, but also opportunities for you to apply Stoic principles to protect yourself. Let Stoicism help you realize that your worth does not depend on how others treat you. Serenity and reason will become your shield, keeping you steadfast in the face of disrespectful behavior. Join me on this journey by leaving a comment. I'm ready for this journey. Together, we will reclaim your confidence and inner peace, regardless of external influences. Number 1. Disrespect. Disrespect is a seemingly common behavior, yet it holds tremendous power in its ability to hurt and diminish the value of others. Have you ever wondered why even the smallest acts of disrespect can profoundly shake our self-esteem? When someone disrespects you, they are subtly sending a message that, in their eyes, your worth is not recognized. This is a behavior that followers of Stoic philosophy must identify, understand, and learn to confront with calmness and wisdom. The famous philosopher Epictetus, one of the icons of Stoic philosophy, once said, "It is not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." Indeed, the disrespect of others cannot harm you unless you allow it to. In the eyes of a Stoic philosopher, the issue is not what others think or how they behave, but how we perceive and respond to those actions. Let's consider a real-life example. Imagine you have a friend whom you always treat with respect and sincerity. However, during conversations they constantly interrupt you, disregard your opinions, and sometimes even show disdain for what you say. Do you feel disappointed and hurt? Of course you do. But according to Stoic philosophy, this is an opportunity to train your mind. Ask yourself, do I need this person's recognition to feel valuable? The Stoic answer is no. Your worth does not come from others, but from your evaluation of yourself. As Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The disrespect of others is an external event. It does not belong to you, but to them. Those who fail to recognize your true value are merely revealing their own shortcomings in evaluating and respecting others. Therefore, instead of letting yourself be affected, remember that disrespect can only touch you if you allow it to. If we look at the life of Jesus Christ, we see a vivid example of patience and compassion toward those who showed him disrespect. Despite being reviled, mocked, and ultimately crucified, he did not let the contempt of his enemies wound his soul. Instead, he prayed for those who harmed him, saying, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This act of Jesus is not only an expression of mercy, but also a testament to spiritual strength that transcends disrespect and hatred. Followers of Stoic philosophy can learn from this example. When someone disrespects you, remind yourself that their disrespect does not reflect who you are, but rather their weakness of character. As Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, said, "No man is good by chance, virtue must be learned." Those who disrespect you may not yet have learned how to treat others with reverence and humility. It is not your responsibility to change them. Instead, Focus on training your mind. Do not let disrespect rob you of your inner peace. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? Is it being respected by others, or is it maintaining my self-respect and inner tranquility? If you choose the latter, then the disrespect of others will no longer be a significant issue. Moreover, you can seek out like-minded individuals, those who share your values and treat you with respect. Stoicism does not advocate for living in isolation or completely ignoring those around you, but rather for carefully choosing relationships that are worthy of your time and affection. A community built on mutual respect is an ideal environment for personal growth and maintaining inner balance. Finally, always remember that true respect begins with yourself. If you respect yourself, others will not easily harm you with their disrespect. As Epictetus famously said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." When you truly understand your value, you won't need the respect of others to feel worthy. At that point, disrespect will be nothing more than a speck of dust passing by, unable to touch your soul. Number 2. Ghosting. Have you ever experienced the pain of someone you hold dear suddenly disappearing from your life without any explanation or warning? It feels as though everything is buried in darkness, and you stand there in silence, not understanding why you've been abandoned. This phenomenon, now known as ghosting, is the act of suddenly vanishing without leaving a trace. According to Stoic philosophy, such events are not only emotional challenges, but also opportunities to strengthen the soul and intellect. When someone disappears from your life without a clear reason, your first instinct might be to blame yourself, to feel that you're not good enough, or that you deserve to be left behind. However, it is crucial to remember that your value does not diminish simply because someone decides to leave without a word. Imagine facing this pain, but instead of letting it control you, you choose to confront it with reason. In the mind of a Stoic, someone's disappearance does not change your worth. This is a reminder that when someone chooses to leave without saying goodbye, it is their choice, not a measure of your value. In life, the absence of a person can often be the clearest sign that they do not belong in your orbit. Their disappearance might even be a blessing in disguise, helping you cleanse your life of relationships that are unworthy of your time and affection. Have you ever considered that perhaps this sudden departure is God's way of guiding you, helping you move away from relationships that bring no good? When Jesus said, "Do not let your hearts be troubled, believe in God," he was reminding us that even in our most painful moments, we must have deep faith in God's greater plan for our lives. We live in a society where digital interactions have made disappearing easier than ever. Someone can block your number, remove you from their friends list, and vanish as if they never existed. But what happens afterward? Do they truly disappear from your mind, or does the pain of their absence continue to haunt you? Stoic philosophy teaches us that no one can control our emotions but ourselves. Someone's disappearance may cause pain, but you can choose how to respond to it. Ask yourself, is this absence worth my suffering? In real life, ghosting can occur in many forms: romantic relationships, friendships, or even in the workplace. A friend you once considered a soulmate may suddenly stop communicating. A colleague may leave without notice, regardless of the form it takes. This disappearance leaves a void in your heart. However, remember that every void can be filled, and you are the one who decides what will fill it. It could be the peace that comes from acceptance, or the wisdom gained from learning. One illustrative example is the story of a woman named Sarah. She once had a deep relationship with a man she believed would be her life partner. They shared beautiful memories and grand dreams, but one day he disappeared without a word of explanation. Sarah fell into despair, questioning what had happened and blaming herself for faults she didn't even know she had. Over time, Sarah learned to accept that his disappearance was not a reflection of her worth, but rather his choice. She found strength in Stoic philosophy, and instead of letting the pain control her life, chose to live a meaningful and peaceful life. Stoic philosophy, much like the teachings of Jesus, echoes the message, "Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you." This means that even when someone disappears from your life without explanation, you should forgive them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness does not mean accepting their actions. It means freeing yourself from the suffering caused by their actions. When you face ghosting, remember that it is not a measure of your worth. Your value does not come from how others treat you, but from how you treat yourself. Let Stoic philosophy and the teachings of Jesus guide you through these difficult times, helping you stand strong against all of life's challenges. Finally, believe this: what is meant to be yours will always be yours. What is not, let it go in peace. Join the conversation in the comment section. Are you ready to let go of relationships that no longer deserve your time and find peace and happiness within yourself? We would love to hear your story. Number 3, center of attention. From the perspective of Stoic philosophy, the desire to always be the center of attention is a clear manifestation of a lack of inner control. In contrast, Stoics constantly seek to govern themselves, refusing to let external factors disturb or influence their inner peace. They understand that true value does not come from the recognition of others, but from a deep understanding of oneself and the ability to govern one's own life. In the world of the Stoic, calmness and tranquility are far more important than any praise or spotlight. They do not need to seek attention or admiration from the crowd, because they know that such attention is fleeting, easily lost, and does not determine a person's true worth. Ask yourself, are those who constantly seek to be the center of attention truly happy, or is it just an endless race to fill a void in their soul? It is often said that recognition from others is like a mental drug, providing a brief moment of euphoria, but leaving behind long-term dissatisfaction and a relentless craving for more. There is a famous saying that emphasizes this point: fame, if it comes, let it come, but never seek it. Act with virtue and let others decide the rest. This means that if we live true to our values, we do not need to crave recognition from others. If recognition comes, it will come naturally, but the important thing is not to let it control our lives. In modern life, with the explosion of social media, the need to be the center of attention has become even more intense. We often see people constantly posting their perfect lives, seeking praise through likes and comments. But think deeply, is that happiness? Or is it just temporary solace for deep-seated insecurities? Every time we post a picture or status on social media, are we truly sharing our joy, or are we simply seeking validation from others? And if that validation doesn't come, do we feel disappointed and empty? For example, look at the lives of celebrities or social media influencers. They may create a perfect image for the public, with millions of followers, but behind the camera, when the spotlight is off, many of them feel empty and lonely. Demi Lovato, a famous singer, has publicly shared that despite having millions of fans, she still felt lonely and dissatisfied with herself. This is not an uncommon phenomenon. It's a reality that external attention can never fill the void within. This is no different from always wanting to be the center of attention in real life. What many fail to realize is that such attention is never enough, and it never brings lasting satisfaction. When we look at the example of Jesus, we see the opposite model. He did not seek attention nor demand adoration. He acted out of love for the salvation of humanity, not for glory. In the Bible, Jesus says, "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant." This teaches us that true value does not come from standing on high for everyone to admire, but from humility and serving others. It is in this humility and compassion that Jesus found his true value, a value that cannot be shaken by recognition or the lack thereof. Stoic philosophy supports this view. The constant desire to be the center of attention is not only a sign of insecurity, but also a manifestation of a lack of inner control. Stoics always seek peace within their souls, knowing that this peace cannot come from external validation, but must come from being content with oneself and one's true values. This control is the key to achieving inner freedom and peace, something that cannot be stolen by anyone or anything external. We see this in everyday life, such as in work relationships. Some colleagues constantly try to impress the boss, sometimes by taking credit for others' work or diminishing the value of those around them. But what happens when they don't receive the attention they desire? They feel disappointed and abandoned, which sometimes leads to the breakdown of workplace relationships. However, those who are truly successful and respected are the ones who act with integrity, without needing to show off, and who are willing to share success with others. Stoic philosophy also reminds us, when one door closes, another opens. But we often stand looking so long at the closed door that we do not see the one that has opened. This means that when we are too focused on seeking attention from others, we may miss out on opportunities that can truly bring happiness and meaning to our lives. If we constantly seek validation from the outside, we may lose the chance to recognize our true value. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I living my life based on the recognition of others? Live simply, without showmanship, without needing to draw others' attention. This is valuable advice that reminds us that true human worth does not lie in what others think of us, but in how we act and live our lives. Those who live with integrity, gratitude, and humility do not need to stand in the spotlight to feel happy. They have found true peace within their souls, just as the teachings of Jesus and Stoic philosophy have shown. On this journey, remember, you do not need to be the center of attention to feel valuable. Live with integrity, gratitude, and humility, and you will find true peace within your soul. Ultimately, it is this inner peace, not the light of attention, that is the true source of happiness. Number 4. Absent in times of need. Perhaps there is no greater disappointment than when those we trust are absent in our times of need. When we face difficulties, confusion, or suffering, the presence of loved ones and close friends can bring comfort, encouragement, and the strength to overcome adversity. But when they are absent, we are not only confronted with our challenges, but also with loneliness, the feeling of abandonment, and the sense of betrayal. Stoic philosophy, a system of thought that helps us maintain reason and calm in any circumstance, offers principles to help us face this absence with greater strength. Epictetus, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, reminds us that the absence of others should not shake our spirit, for true happiness and strength must come from within. When those we value are not there in our moments of need, it can make us feel unimportant, as though we don't matter enough to deserve their support. But pause and ask yourself, does my value truly depend on the presence of others? Remember, everything outside of us is temporary and beyond our control. The only things we truly possess are our soul and intellect. The absence of others when you need them most is not a measure of your worth, but rather an opportunity to test your resilience and self-reliance. There is a story from the life of Jesus that can help us understand this concept. When Jesus was arrested and faced his passion, all his closest disciples deserted him, even Peter, who had sworn to stand by his side no matter what. Despite the physical and emotional pain, Jesus accepted this solitude and continued his mission. He did not blame those who abandoned him. Instead, he prayed for them, demonstrating immense compassion and self-mastery. The absence of others can make us feel lonely, but through the lens of Stoic philosophy, it is a moment to remind ourselves of our inner strength. This means that relationships and support from others may vanish, but the resilience and self-discipline within us are the only things that cannot be taken away. Take a real-life example. Imagine you're facing a significant challenge at work or in your personal life. You seek help and advice from trusted friends, but instead of standing by you, they disappear without a word. You might feel betrayed and abandoned, doubting yourself. But rather than sinking into sadness and disappointment, ask yourself, can I stand strong on my own? Can I find a way to solve this problem without relying on others? The answer, according to Stoic philosophy, is yes. We can always find strength within ourselves. We can cultivate wisdom and determination to face any challenge, regardless of who is or isn't by our side. This doesn't mean we should live in isolation or never need anyone. Instead, it means we should not rely entirely on others to define our value. To illustrate how to face the absence of others and overcome it with a Stoic spirit, we can look at the life of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple and one of the greatest innovators in history. In 1985, Jobs was ousted by the very board of directors of Apple, the company he had founded. It was a huge shock. He lost his position and the support of those he once considered teammates. In that moment, Jobs may have felt abandoned, not just by his colleagues, but by the company to which he had given his all. But instead of collapsing under the weight of this absence and betrayal, Steve Jobs chose a different path. He found strength within himself, accepting the reality that no one but him could determine his worth. Jobs left Apple and started rebuilding from scratch, founding Next and later Pixar. This story isn't just about his eventual success when he returned to Apple and turned it into one of the world's most valuable companies. It's about how Jobs didn't let the absence of others affect his value and vision. In a speech at Stanford University in 2005, Steve Jobs said, "Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith." This quote reflects a distinctly Stoic spirit. Even when life throws unexpected challenges your way, such as betrayal or the absence of those you once trusted, the important thing is not to lose faith in yourself. So, when you face situations where others are absent in your times of need, ask yourself, can I find strength within myself? Remember, your value does not depend on the presence of others, but on your self-reliance and resilience. As Jesus taught, "And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." This reminds us that even when others leave, you are never truly alone, for God is always beside you, guiding and supporting you. The absence of others is only temporary, but your inner strength, once nurtured and developed, will always be a steadfast anchor for you. Turn to Stoic philosophy and the teachings of Jesus to realize that you can always stand firm, no matter who is by your side. As we reflect on behaviors like the absence of others during difficult times, we are reminded that our worth is not determined by how others treat us. Stoic philosophy teaches that despite life's many challenges, true peace always resides within us, in a place that no one can touch or harm. Those who disrespect you, those who disappear when you need them the most, or those who are absent during your difficulties, do not define your value. They are merely opportunities for you to strengthen your soul and spirit. Instead of allowing these behaviors to hurt or embitter you, view them as valuable lessons that help you understand yourself better and discover your inner strength. Your value is not determined by others' recognition or attitudes. Live true to your essence, maintaining steadfastness and calm, for these are the core principles of Stoic philosophy and the path to true happiness and serenity. On this journey, you do not need to seek validation from anyone to know your worth. Trust in your intrinsic value, for as Jesus taught, when we act with love, humility and virtue, life itself will provide the answers we seek.